Cashflow Diary Podcast, episode 59.
Congratulations, you showed up. Give yourself a high five in celebration of your success. Welcome to the Cashflow Diary, where new and experienced investors come to take confident action towards their goals. Your host is a family man, a real estate entrepreneur, investor, coach, and instructor. As a master facilitator of Robert Kiyosaki's Cashflow 101 game, he's inspired many to begin their journey into creating cash flow for themselves and their family. And now, here he is to offer you the tools required to earn the income desired. Your cash flow coach, Jay Massey.
All right, and welcome to another episode of the Cashflow Diary Podcast. I am glad to be here. I know you guys are enjoying meeting so many different entrepreneurs in different different genres of entrepreneurship. That's the best word to use, because it's not, cash flow isn't exclusive to real estate. Yes, that's what I do. Yes, you know that. However, there are many ways to take your passion, take something that you care about, that is important to you, that can go out there and solve problems for people. Because remember, as an entrepreneur, what we do is we solve problems. Whether if we're a real estate entrepreneur, we just happen to use real estate to solve the problem, or any other kind of entrepreneur for that matter. We're solving problems. And that's what I get excited about. For those of you who are joining us for the first time, make sure you go over to episode number 1. You can get some of the details of how my wife and we've got started. Many of you already know that we started technically homeless, squatting in bank-owned property. I had a punctured lung. I couldn't walk and talk, and my wife almost died a few times. And people ask, how on earth did you manage to survive that, let alone build a portfolio of multiple hundreds of units across the U.S. and have commercial real estate too? Well, the point is, if you want more of those details, go listen to episode 1. In the meantime, if you're ready to take action, you can go to Learn Investing Now. That's literally learninvestingnow.com for a free course on how you can get started inside of real estate investing. And for those of you who feel like, you know what, I don't need to learn, I'm ready to begin, you go to Begin Investing Now, and we've got more information there for you on how to buy and hold. And there's even a bonus video on how to buy and hold real estate using none of your own money or credit. Now, with that all being said, I'm excited for today's guest, because you think that, just because you know something or you have a passion, that's all it's going to take. And what's interesting is the journey of becoming an entrepreneur isn't just a given. You don't just wake up one day and boom, it's done. And what I want to share with you is that the individuals that you're going to hear from today, they're still doing it. And that's what's exciting for me. What's exciting is that when you are an engaged entrepreneur, you're out there making things happen, creating opportunities. And this is the key here. A successful entrepreneur will not only create opportunities for him or herself, but for others as well. And the individuals today have done exactly that. And you may have even seen them when they appeared on Dr. Oz or Shark Tank. So what I want you to do is I want you to help me welcome America's first family of fitness, Billy Blanks Jr. and Sharon Catherine Blanks. Hey, guys.
Hi.
How you doing?
So far,
Thank you
so
for
good.
having us.
You're welcome. I'm
Thank you.
glad you
Great
guys are
intro.
here. This is I love meeting more entrepreneurs and helping more people. But for the two people who may not know who you guys are already, could you tell us a little bit more about what you guys have been doing? And when it comes to, I know you've got this program, Dance It Out, and all these things that you're doing, between the DVDs and books and all this other stuff. But before we get into that, how on earth did you wake up one day and say, okay, I want to be an entrepreneur?
Well, it's funny, we always, Sharon and I both, as we were, becoming a couple and even as friends, we've always worked together in different capacities, and when we created our program, it was something that we thought would be, we thought there was a need for it. We thought, that there is tons of fitness out there, and we wanted to do something different, so we kept going, how do we make this into a business so that it's not just something we go and teach, every week, that it becomes something that we can do and build an empire with it, and that other instructors can teach. And so that's just kind of where we started, but we wanted to create something that was also fun for people and for people to be able to change lives with it, and for us, that was the biggest thing, is we kept saying, fitness can sometimes be drudgery for people or hard, something that they don't want to continue doing. And so we were like, well, what would make it fun? And that's where we came up with our program. It's just kind of combining all the styles of dance and making it so that way people could literally work out for an hour and not even notice that they're working out because they're having so much fun.
Wow.
Yeah, you know, I feel that that's an interesting question for us, because many people know already that we are from the entertainment industry first. We are still performers, we're still actors, so we're in the entertainment industry and fitness. And the thing that I feel is interesting about your question to us is when you're in the arts, you really don't wake up and say, I want to be an entrepreneur. That's not really what comes first, because the arts have to do with passion and creativity, and that's something we're very clued into more than a lot of other industries or businesses. And I think what happens with you, if you have enough drive, is your passion comes first. You lead with your heart first. But if you're intelligent enough to constantly want to grow, and if you're a good listener, because that's what I think, if we have a strong point, what would our strongest point be? Billy and I are good listeners, and we are eager to learn, and we don't have an ego about what we know already, and we're always wanting to grow. And I feel like our passion came first, because that's what keeps you there. It doesn't guarantee you'll get there, but it keeps you in the game while things are, it's a bumpy road sometimes. And so I feel like our willingness to learn and watching and just a basic thing of how does money work for us instead of us working for money? How do we get out of this hamster wheel? I think that's when the entrepreneurial spirit takes over, and you're like, there is a way to keep doing what we're passionate about, but also not have to worry about, do we buy food today or do we pay this bill today? And that's very real. I know you relate to that, because we know the story of you and your wife as well. I mean, this is interesting that we have so much in common, and so there's so much that we relate to with you and your wife. That's a very real existence. That is your existence of going food or this bill or that bill, robbing Peter to pay Paul, and your entrepreneurial spirit kicks in, because you're like, we are working so hard and we're so passionate, and we feel that what we bring to the table has great value. Now we have to make money work for us. We have to now actually make a living and create a financial cushion. And I mean, we have a child. We want, that's when those things take over. That's right. When I feel for us, that's when we said we want to be an entrepreneur. But we didn't lead with that, because creative people are used to not getting paid. So we never lead with that. We always lead with our passion. Actors will always work for nothing, or little or nothing, or peanuts.
Right.
You know what I mean? You when you have a child, you're like, wait a second, I don't want him or her to go through that,
Right. Now, you bring up something interesting, though, because many would-be entrepreneurs, let's call them, wannapreneurs, if you will, would
I like
they come to that same conclusion. They go, well, this is what I enjoy, but this is what I think will make money. And many times they're presented with that choice. But what I hear you saying, and I, by the way, I'm in total agreement, is that if you're going to work this hard, you might as well work at something you love and figure out a way to make money with that, and not just chase the dollar. That's what I hear you saying.
Yes, we you know what we know. Go ahead, sweetie.
The one thing I can say, it's a great question, but she is saying that too, because I know that for us, this is something we absolutely love doing. But you do have to, if you find the thing that you love, it's obviously going to be easier for you to do no matter what. And so, that's why it is important to find your passion. And then it's like a two-step process. Find your passion, and now find a way to make sure that you can do that passion as a job. Because like you said, there are certain things people love to do, but they may not pay so well. You know what I mean? And
Mm-hmm.
for us, it was literally learning how to make it into a business that could be profitable for us, and being able to take those steps and to go, okay, we've learned so much along the way. Like she said, we went from working so absolutely hard that we still weren't really seeing any benefit from it financially until we went, wait a minute, we have to work smarter, and we have to find out how, like she said, to make money work for us, and to get to the place where, where we then not only are doing what we love, but also are showing ourselves that we have value, you know what I mean, and actually, making it into something that people notice that value, that they then, you can make it into a business.
Agreed.
And there's two ways to go about that, because Billy and I know many people that made that decision to go for what was going to make them financially well off, not necessarily what their passion was. They took themselves out of the creative game or whatever they were originally going to do, and life took over and they made other decisions. And you can't really judge that. I feel that Billy and I notice a difference in the way, in the way people go about things when they do make that decision. So I'm not judging it, but I feel like when you are able to create a way to make money doing what you love, you're always going to be a little bit different than the person who was intelligent enough to find a way how to make money, but not necessarily doing what they were passionate about.
Agreed.
It's two different, you know what I mean? And so I can say that Billy and I are very fortunate that we're able to move forward with our passion, because I think that, I'm speaking for myself, but I know Billy feels the same way. I wouldn't be able to really do it long term the other way. At some point, I would be one of those people that dropped out and went, can't do it anymore. Got to go for what I love. So.
Absolutely. No, and that's exactly, I'm just glad you're saying it, because that's exactly how I choose to approach real estate. Because people ask me all the time, which method of real estate is going to be the one to make the most money? And I'm like, that's the wrong question. The correct question is, what customer do you want to serve? What demographic
Absolutely.
do you want to serve? And who are you best suited to serve? And are you going to have fun doing it? When you've got those down, then we can go find, what marketplace and what type of real estate you're going to do, and whether it's going to be a buy and hold or fix and flip or what have you. So
and that's a great way of putting it when you say, what market are you going to serve? Billy and I are very big on that word, serve, because especially in the fitness industry, a lot of people don't realize there is a tremendous amount of ego and arrogance within the industry, within the wellness industry, and this is one of the things that I always say in our certifications. You could have the absolute best idea ever. For instance, go way, way, way back, and let's start with the wheel. We know what the invention of the wheel has done for our entire society, our life, the universe.
It made a small difference.
Collectively, people decided that they weren't that interested in it, then there would be no wheel. Do you know what I mean? So you're always serving the public needs, demands, etc. You are serving, you are giving something, whether you want to think of it that way or not. You are giving something. Society back in the day easily could have decided, well, the wheel is, that's cool, but we don't want to use it for anything.
Right.
You know what I mean? A great idea has to be supported by the collective opinion, by the majority, and so you are serving the public. It's really better to go into anything you do with that knowledge and that reality, because you know how many people you hear say, well, I did it all on my own. No, because somebody bought what it is you had to sell. And if nobody buys it, you have nothing. You just have your great idea in your room. I love the fact that you use that word, serve.
Yes, that's what we do. We provide clean, safe, affordable housing to people that need it at a time when it matters most. That's really, really what we do as a real estate company, and or a real estate investor. That's what you're doing, and everybody needs a place to live, work, play, or lay. And when it comes down to it, it's usually done inside of real estate. Those four things. So that's good. Now, something that you mentioned, which I think was very, very important for everybody to understand, is that you said you guys have no ego about what you knew already. And Billy, I believe you mentioned that you were learning how to make it into a business. I love both of those concepts because many times I find people are waiting to have everything figured out before they start, or they put a whole lot of faith in, well, I've got such and such degree and I've done this and I've done that. And those things tend to be roadblocks. I'm kind of curious as how you manage to overcome those roadblocks, and more importantly, what are some of the lessons that you've learned that have helped you to make it into a business?
I can say for us, there are several roadblocks in starting. In the beginning, you want to be everywhere. You want to do all these different things, and I can say that we learned several different lessons, you know what I mean? And it's so funny because now we're in the place where we're actually working with other companies that are wanting, kind of like what you're doing, but in a different capacity for fitness. We have now designed 2 or 3 and additional workouts for other people that wanted. They're like, we have this great idea, we have a program or a workout, and we want it to be out there. And so now we're in the position of designing workouts for people. But it's so funny because now that we've gone through it and built a program and taken the time, now there's so many roadblocks that we can help them avoid because of the fact. So we've done this. It's like a hamster in a wheel. You're never going to get forward in this direction or doing this. And, an example for us is when we first started our program, we were so excited about bringing our program to the corporate gyms, the corporate gyms that are across, America. Mm-hmm. That was our big fighting for that, and we thought, okay, make all these connections with these, these big, humongous corporate gyms and try to get your programs in there. And what we ended up finding out was, in this industry, it's not the best way to do it. And yes, you want your program to be in the different corporate gyms, but what we ended up seeing was, a lot of the corporate gyms kind of have one mentality when it comes to bringing a program in, and doing certain things. And we literally learned that may not be the exact focus of the business. And so even
you're being nice about it. Billy's being very nice about it.
As an example, there's one of the corporate gyms that we brought our program to that absolutely was like, okay, we want to partner with you guys and bring this nationwide. And so for us, we were like, okay, this is great. We got this big corporate gym that's all around the country. We're going to work with them. We trained some of their teachers and got them all ready. And then all of a sudden, the corporate gym wasn't returning our phone calls. And then all of a sudden, the teachers that we train were saying, we want to teach, but they're telling us, they want us to teach your program, but they want us to call it something different, so it's their program. And it was a big lesson for us because in the beginning, of course, you're like, this is the place that I want to be. I think this is where we want to be. And then all of a sudden you go, oh, wait a minute, they have no interest in building a program. They have an interest of learning from what you're doing, and then kind of taking it. And so that there were some roadblocks for us in the beginning and setting the things up and figuring out what was important, and the more we grew and the more we started to see, wow, there are local gyms that want the ability to have the variety. There are people who want to teach at YMCAs or at their own outside locations, and as well as some of those corporate gyms. We started to learn this is really what is making it stronger for us as a business, and the same with our some of our instructors. Like I told you about, we spoke earlier about a gentleman that is one of our instructors that taught at several of the corporate gyms, and when he started teaching our program, he went from having, 2 people in this class to having bigger classes to becoming a person who literally teaches just at outside clubs and makes a living off of it. You know what I mean? He makes close to, I think it's a little over $1,000 a week, but it's because he's out there hustling and working hard and taking a different path. And it's major
because people that teach fitness make nothing. So it's major when you find something that you can make a living at in the fitness industry.
Exactly. Well, and that's the thing. Being an entrepreneur isn't easy, regardless of, what it is that you're trying to do. You have so many skill sets. Yeah. It's not just given to you, and that's the thing that I think that you're mentioning here. And this is what I really want to point out for everybody is your idea could be so big and have such an impact that it begins to create multiple streams of opportunities, again, not only for yourself, but for other people. And if you're listening to what they're saying, they've decided to tackle what is a big problem: fitness. Okay, that's a big problem, or I should say lack of fitness. And the bigger the problem, the bigger the solution. And the bigger the solution, the bigger the paycheck, and the more people that are typically going to be needed and involved that you're trying to serve. You know, it's one thing for an entrepreneur to have a lemonade stand, and how can I mean, with that same lemonade stand, you can ask yourself two questions. You can say, how can I serve, 100 glasses of lemonade a weekend, or how can I serve 1,000,000 glasses of lemonade every weekend? Those two different things require two completely different sets of skills and scalability. And what's amazing to me is that you've taken your idea, your passion, you figured out how to turn it into a business, and now you're creating opportunities for other people to be certified and use and leverage what you know and your hard work, your efforts to go out there and begin to create an income for themselves. That is entrepreneurship at its best, in my opinion.
Oh, thank you so much. That's so nice of you to say that too.
Thank you.
Well, it's not easy to do. Many times people take it for granted, what it takes to actually create a job. Many people know how to go apply for one, but how do you create one?
Right.
Those are two different things. And this is what you're doing. What's that?
About it that way. It's great when you think about it that way. It's again, it goes back to the word serve. I feel like when we can do that, we're also, fulfilling at least a portion of what we feel our purpose is. And so it's really nice to have that thought. And sometimes it's overwhelming to think about that, because it's a position that we wanted to be in. When you hear people, talking about that they're Dance It Out instructors and how many classes they teach a week, and sometimes Billy and I look at each other and go, there was nothing, and now there's something. It was a total blank canvas, and now it's something that really is humbling, to be honest.
Yeah,
it is too. I can say on behalf of myself too. When we thought about having the program and thought about, hey, it would be great to have other teachers and that, I can say that it is, like she said earlier, it's overwhelming for us, because we went from being just the two of us teaching, to having about 1,200 teachers now in America. We have about 1,200 plus in Japan, Taiwan. And the program has continued to grow. And when we're so busy doing it, that then all of a sudden when we stop and we look and we go, oh my God, they're teaching our program, and they're out there, and you see them doing this, and you see, even if we look on Facebook and we see, okay, well, there's one teacher teaching in Tokyo, and there's one in, Hiroshima, and there's another, and they start seeing the locations they're teaching in. It's just the most incredible thing to us to go, wow, this is something that we built, and sometimes you don't have time to digest that, like she's saying, and then when you sit and see it, it's incredible to us.
Yeah, no, I can agree with you. I love that. I love that feeling, because it started with an idea, and I often tell people, they say things. We say things like, I need money, or I have a money problem. I'm like, no one on this planet, in my opinion, has a money problem. They have an idea problem. And with the right ideas and the right support for those ideas, you can go out there and create something which by default will solve your money problem, as well as provide good value to the American public, or public in general, or all your customers, whomever it is that you're looking to serve. So those are the things that are impressive to me, is that, many of us have great ideas. Very few of us take action on them. Even less of us persevere with those ideas, and even fewer persevere with those ideas to make sure that it reaches a level of impact that you guys are having. And those are the things that are possible when you believe in what it is that you're doing. But more importantly, I think it starts because you just guys love doing what you do anyway, because not every day is fun. Not every day is perfect. Not every day goes the way that you want it to go. And you've got to have something to rely upon when that happens. Right. Now, were you going to say something?
No, I said absolutely. No, we were agreeing with you. Yeah.
Got it. So one of the things now, I gotta know what this was like, because I get this question a lot. How do you go out there and raise capital because I do that with real estate, and We'll collect capital, go buy a commercial building, and we'll go redevelop an apartment complex or build a resort, those types of things. And so I get that question a lot. And what I try to tell people consistently is that every entrepreneur has to learn how to do that, regardless. Real estate just kind of makes it a little easier, mostly because the proof of concept is already there. People get the fact that people need a place to live, work, or play or lay. But you did it with a completely different concept, an idea of your own making, and then you were brave enough to go on national television and present that idea. And I just gotta know what on earth was going through your head when the Shark Tank doors are opening and you're going, here we go.
Well, it's such a great question, because I can say that, we obviously had our idea of what we wanted to do, and Shark Tank was a show that we loved to watch.
Yep.
It was something that, as a family, we loved watching it, and as you know, our story, Sharon and I had been working hard with our first, workout that we had and trying to build a business, and had lost our home just with the recession hit, and things were hard for us, and so we were having, a rough way to go. And it's just so funny because I remember watching the show and going, we could do this. This is something that could help us. And, at this time we had, gotten our kind of back onto our feet in a stronger position, but we had gotten into an apartment too soon. We had lost our home, and because we wanted our son to be able to go to school through an apartment and not the motel that we were living in when we began building the workout, we, got ourselves into an apartment and then, saw the show and we're like, God, we really need this. We put everything we have into this business, and we're kind of on our last straw. And so I remember looking at Sharon and going, I think we could do this. I think we could go on there. And Sharon and I had the same mentality of going, even if we don't get a deal from this, we know that we're going to learn something from this.
Right.
And it'll be a good opportunity because these people are in the top of their game. And so it's what Sharon always says. She's like, let's go in there to learn. And so that was our whole purpose. And so then from there, we went through the process like everybody else and went online and kind of just applied and to see what happened. And then we got a call back saying, hey, interested in having you guys come in. And there was, hundreds of other entrepreneurs coming in and doing this like a test pitch to just the producers. And, and you keep going down the steps. And it's really funny because as we were doing it, we kept going, hey, this kind of might happen, but maybe not. You don't really know. And the process is not 2 days. It was literally just to find out that we ended up getting on the show. Probably took us, we'd say 4 months, Sharon, or 6 months.
Yeah, it's like maybe 5. I think it was like 4 or 5 months.
It seemed like 4 or 5 months, and then we finally got the call saying, hey, we want to have you come on. You're going to go pitch to the Sharks, and it kind of was surreal, especially because of the fact that if it's something that you watch and then all of a sudden you're doing it, that was the weirdest thing to go, oh, wait a minute, we're walking down that long hallway right now, and the one thing I can say about the show is Sharon and I, like she said earlier, we're performers. We don't really get nervous because this is what we do. We perform first. Both of us have done TV and Broadway and different things, and so we weren't really nervous. We were kind of excited, but I can say for myself, because I did the first portion of the pitch, and I know when I was walking down, I was fine. But then when you get to the very end and they open the doors and you see the Sharks for the very first time because you don't see them beforehand, and once I finally got down there, they do something which they call the stare-off, which you have to kind of stand there and stare into the Sharks' eyes until they tell you to go. And so for my own, thing, I was like, I'm going to look at each person in the eye so I can see who they are and they can see who I am, and then I'll just wait until they tell me to go. And so I look down at each person's eyes and kind of go through it. And when I finished getting to the far right, which was Robert Herjavec, then I'm like, okay, let me start my pitch. And they're like, hold, keep staring. And so I was like, oh, my God, I want to start, but they want me to keep staring. And so then I go back down the line, and I look at each one of them one more time slower. And they're like, hold, keep staring. And so I went from being totally fine to then all of a sudden getting nervous in the last 10 seconds of waiting, because the stare-off for me was, it seemed like it was almost 3 minutes. It just seemed so long. I was like, oh, my God, can I just start talking? And then I laughed with my wife because I say my mouth was shaking, my eyes were shaking, everything was shaking. I never felt that sensation before, and then just remember beginning to speak and to talk. And I laugh to this day when I watch the show because I got myself together, but for the very first moment, we had two of our students that had come to dance with us on the show. I forgot their names for the second that I started because I was so.
You called them. What did you call them? Regular people.
I said with my wife.
This is my wife Sharon, and
I went
regular people.
Regular people.
and they're our friends. They're not just our students. They're our friends.
It just was a nerve thing, but the thing is that what I can say is one of my strengths, and Sharon has this as a strength too, is that we know how to get ourselves back together, and so I didn't fall apart. You know what I mean? I literally went, okay, I got to focus because I can lose this, and it was so serious to us because, as we said, we are at the end of our rope, and so when you see us going, we are here because we need this. We genuinely needed it, and I can say as a man, and I know you know this, as a man taking care of your family, and with all that you told us, and what we know of your story, it for me was a thing of, I cannot lose this. This is my chance, and I literally went from being nervous to going, I have to focus right now because I can lose this if I'm not focused and I get too emotional or too nervous. And so for me, it was like I have a wife and I have a son, and this could change our lives, and I have to focus differently. And so something kicked in that made it easier.
Yeah, I can relate to that something kicking in. Because I get it because I can remember when, my wife was on bed rest and everything was going. I didn't know where it was going, and you said the words for better or for worse, and you just feel like you're the one who brought all the worse, and you can't figure out what to do. You've got to do something, and it's like I had no choice but to make this thing work. I got to make real estate work. That it's got to work. I don't know how. I don't know if it's going to be with you, but it's going to work, and it's going to work right now. So let's go.
Yeah, that's absolutely what it was.
I get it. I understand it completely. But and that's the thing. And you guys have totally done that. And I don't even actually call that show entertainment. It's more education. when I'm running a private mastermind group or right like we are right now, what I'm doing is that I ask everyone that's in the group to watch it. That's part of their homework. Part of their homework is you got to watch this show so that you can learn about business, because raising capital is one of those things. So I'm just kind of curious, now that you've been able to raise the capital and secure some things with, some of the sharks. I know the general thought process for some people could be, well, now that they've got, their help, it's, they don't have to do anything else. What would you say to the person who's saying that? All right. Now, I'm sure you could tell by the tone of my voice, you're going to love the answer to that question. So, I wanted to make sure, though, that everybody's on the same page because we are talking about raising private capital, right? Well, I've got something special for those of you who are willing to still pre-order the book. It's almost here. We are probably T-minus 11, 12 days, depending on when you're listening to this, before the shipping begins. Therefore, for those of you who are brave and ready to pre-order, I have got something specifically special for you for free. So for those of you that have already gotten the book, you've already got it and you know exactly what I'm talking about. But for those of you who are wondering, what am I talking about? First of all, what book? This could be the first time you're listening. Well, I've taken a lot of the principles and business things that I have learned on how to raise capital, on how to, build apartment buildings, on how to start from nothing, how to do wholesaling, how to do and transact real estate using none of your own money or credit. All of these things have been placed inside the book, which is great. And it'll be right there. You could pretty much have a business plan. You'll know everything from how I find the leads, how I fund the leads and deals, and et cetera. It's all in the book. The book is there for you for that very purpose. Okay. So, but for those of you who have already pre-ordered, you know exactly where I'm going with this. There's a specific tool that I've developed. I call it the Profit Analysis Quadrant. And I talk about it in the book over a few pages. However, having done some presentations now with some individuals, it's become something that I'm learning many people would love to know how to do. For example, if you're brand new to investing, how do you explain your deal? How do you even break apart your deal in terms of the words total return on investment? Most people overlook that and they only talk about cash on cash return. If you are experienced, here's the challenge. You understand total return and cash on cash return, but how do you explain it simply in such a way that you could do so on a napkin? I've had the privilege of doing this presentation now in Estonia and other international places as well as national places, and everywhere I've gone, it's been awesome. You're going to get a video copy of me explaining that presentation absolutely free. So that's going to be there for those of you that are pre-ordering the book. How do you pre-order that book? You send a text message to 949-682-3565, 949-682-3565. You can send that text message on your phone, which you're probably using right now to listen to this podcast. 949-682-3565. That text message should have the word book. The key word is book, B-O-O-K, boy, Oscar, Oscar, kilo, book, 949-682-3565. And we'll respond immediately with the, it's going to ask you your name and email, and then you'll get a link, and you click the link and you place the order, blah, blah, blah. For those of you that are international, because I know there's a number of you out there, it's cashflowdiary.com/book. If you're in front of a computer, it's just cashflowdiary.com/book. So you get that for now. Looking forward to talking to all of you guys because I online and in various places and inside the book. It feels like a communication. It'll be awesome. Anyway, let's get back to the interview.
Mm-hmm. I would say, wake up and smell the reality.
Yeah, no, it's so funny what you're trying to say too, because when you think about it, it actually, we were already working. Sharon and I always made a joke because we said we work like Hebrew slaves because we work so hard that no matter what time it is, no matter what it is, we'll work. If it means it takes us 4 days till we get something done, we will do it, and do it happily. We're not going to complain about the work, but we were already working like that. But I can say that when this happened, it only makes it harder because of the fact that several reasons. One, now you're out there and everybody's wondering, where are you? What have you done? Have you succeeded from this? And so there's a level of pressure on you now that's going, okay, now you have to get out there and really do something. But I also know that for us, it was an opportunity that we said, if this opportunity goes in our direction, then it's like that window opens and you have to either go through that window and hit it hard, or you sit there and just kind of look out the window. And for us, it was, okay, let's go. And the work just got harder for us. It just got harder. You know what I mean? And I could say the thing that we've learned the most from the show, more than anything, was the way to work. And I would say Sharon always calls it working smarter. That's our biggest thing that I could say that changed everything for us, is going, when you're trying to start a business and raise capital and do different things, you will work like a hamster in a wheel and keep going, God, why are we not getting this, until you get to a place when you go, wait a minute. What is the important step right now? Why am I doing these 50 million things that are kind of making me feel at the end of the day that I can't put my work down, and I just want to keep working through the night, and then you wake up and you still aren't finishing everything. And when you get to the point where you go, what are the steps that are going to help? And really organize your thought of what is an important way to work smarter, that's when things really started to change.
You have
for us.
to
And we really learned
define
that.
certain things about, you have to define your life and your business. You have to be honest with what you're doing well and what you're not doing well. And a lot of people find that difficult because it doesn't feel good to have to admit negative things about yourself. But you just have to, if you're not honest with yourself, you really can't move forward. You have to be able to go, this isn't our strong point. This is really, we need help with this. We've got this part of it, but this is the reason why we're in this position. And the funny thing about Shark Tank in particular, it's the phenomenon that I'm sure everybody that has been on that show that's gotten a deal, it finds this out. You have a couple of categories of people that go on Shark Tank. You have the people that are like Billy and I that just know that no matter what, you're going to learn something. It's not that we didn't want a deal. I really didn't feel that any of the sharks were going to understand what we do or think of it as worthy enough to invest in because of the kind of venture capitalists most of them are. So we had a meeting of the minds and just looked at each other and went, look, these people are at the top of their game. We're in a win-win situation because we're either going to get a deal and learn something that we really needed to learn a whole lot, or we're not going to get a deal and we're going to learn a whole lot. I mean, and so we knew that we were going to move forward from that and that we were going to be better business people. But then you have the kind of people that go, and you've seen this, they do their pitch and then they go, so who wants to make some money? And Billy and I always cringe because we're like, okay, duh. They already have made money. You're not doing them any favors. They're helping you. You should not look at a multimillionaire and go, come on, let's make some money. They've already done it. You have to come in humble and with, you have to really come in and with the reality of this is going to help you. You're not helping them. They make money in their sleep. They make money on vacation. You are being helped. So, that the kind of pitch where the people come in and go, come on, we're going to make some money. That irritates me because I'm like, no, they've already made their money. Just do the pitch and see if you have something worthy of investing in. What you find out when you go on the show, and if you're one of those people that gets a deal, then you become a sub-shark. And so what you find out is then you have tons of people emailing you that they don't actually want to go on Shark Tank and do that work. They don't want to go that process. You become their shortcut. And It's funny to me because we're like, dude, we are still climbing the ladder. We're not your shortcut. But that I see, that happens to everybody that has been on that show. Then people start coming to them going, I've got this product. Will you invest in me? They, they want you to be their shortcut to whatever it is they want to do. You're barely getting on your feet, but they want you to invest in their product or program. And I think that's kind of funny.
I do, but I find
the
that
reality
interesting.
is, you're still climbing. You're working harder than ever before, and there are no shortcuts. Mm-mm. And the thing is, you can't. I think we have in this society. I can really speak about this society more, even though we travel all over the world. This is where we were born and raised, America, and America has a get rich quick mentality and a lose weight quick mentality, and it's not. That's just not the way it is. It's just not the way it is, and sometimes when you do get rich quick, as you can see in our society, people lose their minds. You have to go through a process. It's not just for, the benefit of society. It's for your benefit, more than anybody else. You going through that process. You need to go through that process. You can't just be a business owner. You need to be able to do all the jobs that your business has better than anybody else. Before you hire one person, you need to be able to do everything that makes your business run better than anyone else. You need to know how to do it. And then you need to be intelligent enough to seek those people out that can then take over that job when you hire them and be better than you are in terms of their drive, but never in terms of their knowledge. You just have to always seek to know as much as you can about what you're doing and to work hard. It's funny. This is just our philosophy because, we're Christians and so we follow the Bible. There's no retirement in the Bible. I mean, you don't start really getting good until you're about 200, 300 years old in the Bible.
Right.
In the Old Testament, you really start doing your big work when you hit 500.
Right.
You know what I mean? So and believe me, I'm not putting down anybody, that has chosen to retire, but I can tell you that the people that we've met all around the country who are the strongest mentally and physically and just like with that gusto for life are the people that have chosen to to work at what they love, to work not necessarily because they have to, by the way, but just because it's fulfilling for them, constantly using their mind, constantly using their hands, their bodies. There's that man, they did a documentary on, excuse me, I think it was KCET, a man named Pearl. He is, his work is the inspiration for Edward Scissorhands. All of those, what do you call it? Is it I can't think of the name of it.
Hedges?
Topiaries? Yeah, all of those hedges that are designed in such magnificent ways, he actually does that. And he's an older man, and if you just were to take a picture of him from the neck down and couldn't see the age at all in his face, you would say that you're looking at someone that couldn't be any older than 25, physically. He's so strong. He's constantly climbing and trees and working with these heavy tools, and he loves what he does. And so there's something to be said for that. I think a lot of people go into anything to live the good life, and you'll hear the sharks say that. Sometimes somebody will come into the tank and they're like, you want to live the good life off of my hard work. You have to put in the work. It makes you better.
It's so much more rewarding.
It makes you feel it.
Put in the work. It's so much more rewarding, and I'm sure you know this too. Obviously, no, you don't want to have struggled, and if you could change that and make sure that never happened, you would do it. But I can say that there was such a lesson in all that we went through that I know that we will never be in that position again because of the fact that first of all, we'll never forget that position, and we always have a sensitivity to it because of the fact that we know what that looks like in your eyes when you're having a struggle and going through those situations, and you're having to walk and see people daily, and you can't say, this is where I'm at. You know what I mean? We know what that look is, so we're always able to see somebody and go, that person is struggling. Because we know what that looks
like.
They're not saying anything about it. We weren't the kind of people to walk around and go, oh, feel bad for us. When we were teaching our program, Homeless, we were literally living in the motel connected to the gym we were teaching in. And all these, students from Beverly Hills and Sherman Oaks and different areas are coming to our class, and they never knew what was going on because to us, one, we didn't want to become the focus, and then it becomes about us and everybody feels bad for us. But two, we were going, we've got to get out of the situation. And we can tell them once we've gotten out of it how incredible they were and how supportive they were without knowing. But we just moved forward, and it was the biggest lesson because when we finally did get out of it and did say to our students, we wanted to say thank you for supporting our program and what we've done because you don't realize this is the situation we are in. We are now in a house, and when we told them, first of all, they were all just so like shocked. But I think we also got a lesson because at that moment, all these different people started coming up to us and telling us their stories and different things that they were going through, whether it's a divorce or I lost my home or I'm losing my home or just different things. And we learned that people are going through life and trying to put their best foot forward. And you don't know that each person has a story. You don't think about that, when you go in, and so people didn't realize that they were coming in. And on the days when we would feel like maybe we're doing this and we shouldn't be doing this, the days when we were at our lowest, somebody would give us a compliment and come up and say, this class has changed my life. This workout has changed my life. We're so grateful for you guys. Thank you for doing this. Now my mom is working out and my son and my daughter, whatever the statement would be. And it would be something that Sharon and I could silently look at each other and go, okay, we have to keep moving forward, And so they wouldn't know. Just those kind words were helping to build us in those moments, and we always say that you have to be aware of that and to know you're talking to somebody who may need your kindness for the second they're talking to them.
Yeah,
and it's all a part of it goes hand in hand because there's the famous saying, which is really correct for everything in life. It's 20% what happens to you and 80% what your reaction is to it. And I think when people hear that, they're always thinking just at the downside of the scale of how you get through the tough times. But we've met millionaires and billionaires, and we can also say that it also stands for true and probably never more true than when you're successful. because, yes, same thing. 20% what happens to you, 80% how you react to it. Because we've met millionaires who are jerks.
Right.
You have to define what you want to be, whether you have a dime or whether you have a billion dimes. You have to decide what you want to put into your industry that you're in, the world, the planet. You have to have a bigger picture than you and your dream and your idea. You have to say, what am I going to put in it, whether I have a dime or not? Because truly, I don't believe that people change. I just believe that money sometimes gives people the freedom to be jerky. And they were just pretending to be, to be humble. I think what you are in your heart, money will give you the freedom to be that. And so you have to define what kind of person you're going to be, regardless of whether you're successful in business or not. You have to define those things, because when people talk about focus, those are not always the things that they're talking about, but those are the things that should be taught in business school. It absolutely should be.
Oh,
what are you? Define it all. Define it all.
We don't want. I don't think we want to go down the road of talking about what should be taught in school right now. But I hear you. I hear you. I hear you completely on all of those points, because there's just so many lessons, and some of the things that I just want to make sure that everyone hears is that, you are not a failure is not a person. Failure is an event, and you had a failure event, and that doesn't mean that it's the end of your story. And that's one of the things that I'm always working to strive and spread the message that your story's not over. If you're listening to our voices right now, your story isn't over. Turn the page. It's a new chapter. It's a new day. Start on the next sentence if you have to, whatever it takes. And there are those days where you have to go hour by hour, or maybe every 15 minutes, you got to stop and pray. I tell people all the time, one of the first things I had to learn to do, I am now, this may come as a shock to you two, but I am naturally introverted and shy. I don't really do so well in crowds and that type of thing.
No,
so,
I'm the same way, and so I am a person that when I hear somebody like you say that, I totally get it. You don't even have to explain it. And my husband will tell you that. I completely get it.
Good. Okay, good, because it drives my wife nuts. But the one of the first things I had to do is, like, you grow up and you're told don't speak to strangers, but now you're trying to have a business. So what do you got to do? You got to speak to strangers, and you're
don't
like,
be shy. Right.
Really? How does that work? And I had so many failure events along the way that could have stopped. And that's the thing that I hope everyone is picking up. The world will offer you its version of excuses and reasons and justifications as to why you don't have the ability to go out there and create cash flow. And it's just all false. And you've heard.
It's true. I love that you're saying that. I just want to chime in and say to you, I love that you're saying that, because you will get that feeling of, no, it's not going to happen. And it's truly, whether you sit down and go, okay, this is done because I'm saying it's done, or you go, no, you're saying it's done, but I'm not. And you keep moving and you keep doing, and it's because there were several times we could look at you and say there were doors slammed in our face that would have been in anybody's head, okay, this is a no, we need to go on to something else. And it's about truly giving yourself that chance to go, it's not a no until I say it's a no. It truly is something that you just have to go, you keep going forward, and I wanted to say one thing, because you said something earlier that it's so important, because you talked about there were times where you had to stop and pray for a second. And I just want to say, is Sharon and I, that's one of the things that we're never going to deny and say that wasn't a great strength for us, is to have prayer and to be able to, know when the time was to pray. Because I can say there are several times when you're struggling or you're having a hard way or you're getting constant no's that you feel like you just want to quit. And when we started to really succeed is in those moments where it seemed as scary. I'm telling you, when we say scary, after we had done Shark Tank and gotten the deal and knew that we were going on, that it was going to air, but you can't speak. You have to sign.
Right, you can't tell anybody. You signed confidentially.
Can't tell anybody.
Yeah.
and to let you know how serious it is, we got to a place where we knew we were on the show, but it was around Thanksgiving, and we didn't know when it was going to air or if it was going to air. You still have to wait.
It was right after Thanksgiving. It was literally 2 days after Thanksgiving, and we had no lights, no heat,
no lights, no power. Everything was turned off because we couldn't afford to keep it on. Everything was
that
turned off.
way until the beginning of the New Year.
We literally went. We went all through Christmas without power.
And it was freezing.
It seemed like the coldest summer winter California had ever had.
Right. Well, it was one of the ones. It was a record breaker.
But my point is that anybody would have seen, okay, well, they got a deal, or, if you would have known the story, then in your head you'd be like, they got the deal, this is all going to be great. Well, no, none of it could go through until we get to that thing and they confirm we're going to actually be on the show. And so it was something that all of a sudden the power and stuff was turned off. And I remember having a low point of going, wait a minute, we worked so hard and we got to this and we did this and we're still here, and this is horrible, and now as a man, I'm like, I've just felt so horrible. We're in this house that doesn't have power, and then the moment
we had to
came
make
together,
a decision. Yeah, we had to make a
it's
choice.
going to be okay. We made a choice to go, you know what, we can sit here and worry and complain and get upset, or we can look and go, it's going to be okay. And the moment you make that decision and you go, no, we have to keep putting one foot in front of the other because I believe this is going to be okay. All of a sudden, when you release it and you give it up like that, and you pray and you say, I trust this. There's a reason. You're not bringing me here to fail. You're not letting me just drop.
Mm-hmm.
And we put up the Christmas decorations. Put up the Christmas decorations. We'd wait till it was daytime and put up all the shades in our apartment so the light would come through. And we were like, because my parents always raised me, never live your circumstances. Don't wear that on your face. Don't wear that in your circumstances. And we were like, we're going to put the wreath outside of our door because we're like, first of all, we are inundated with our situation, but our neighbors don't know anything. I mean, and we were like, okay, there's no lights, but I bought this little battery packed operated thing that makes the wreath light up so that it wouldn't be so obvious that there weren't actually lights, like in our apartment, that there was some light there. And we would take our son to the library to do his homework. And our son looked at us and went, it's temporary. And look how close we are. We would be huddled together because it was so cold.
It was the best lesson, though, as a family. We came together as a family because we were like, we knew we can get through this, you know what I mean? And we have to get through this. And so it made everything so much more easier because we just went, it's going to be okay. And the moment we did, it seemed like everything started to come together. Then we got the call, okay, your show is going to air. It's going to air on this date. And you know what? Now this funding is going to come through from the Sharks. And then this is going to come through from a different company that saw you guys or did this and thinks that, you guys would be great. And all of a sudden, the moment we went, it's going to be okay. No matter how scary it looks right now, we are going to be all right. Then all of a sudden, it was like we were rewarded. I felt like God went, I'm going to reward you because you just grew as humans because you didn't sit down and cry and do this. You went, it's going to be all right. Go forward.
You have to make the decision, and you have to figure things out. We were teaching at a corporate gym. We were able to keep ourselves clean by showering and taking our son and doing the same, so that we didn't get down. Those were things that we were living through. It's like, when you see a movie and say it's a romantic comedy and they do that montage, of boy meets girl or whatever, you have to remember, life, you get to look back on your montage, but the montage is made up of real-time events.
Right.
But it's snipped and edited. You know what I mean? It's edited and it's snipped and it's got music in the background. That's you look back on stuff and you're like, I'm looking back on it in snippets, but we went through that in real time. And so you will get that montage. You'll be able to look back and go look at where you came through, but you have to somehow, because it's not easy at all. and especially if you don't have someone to encourage you, because we need each other, you know. And so you have to find a way to get the mentality and to wrap yourself around, okay, this isn't happening to me. Life is not happening to me. Let me see how I'm going to get through this tough time. Let me make the choice to not be beaten by this, to not feel so depressed that I don't ever want to get out of bed. And I just, because that's hard. That is really difficult. And it's made harder because there are so many people going through that don't have even that one person going, come on, you can do it. It breaks my heart. We hear that all the time in our travels. There are some people that just don't even have that one person. And that is part of our purpose. That's why I'm saying, when you use that word serve, I was so happy because it's so much about that. Nobody does it alone. We feel that the bigger part of what Billy and I were supposed to do is to go through enough stuff to relate. To relate so that we understand it, so that we could be there to help lift somebody up. We know what these hard times, not every hard time, but what we've been through, to use that to go, we know how to motivate, but we also know how to encourage because we know how important that is. And I think that's the bigger part of what we were supposed to do. As an actress, and as an actor, it's all about you. When you're acting, especially, we've been in show business, both of us, since we were kids. That culture is it's about your headshots and your things. It's very, very much about you. In the fitness world, it has to be about everybody else.
Right.
It has to be about your students have to come first. Your clients and their needs have to come first. And I had no idea because I wasn't in the fitness industry first. I got in the fitness industry, because of Billy, because we taught together. We taught hip-hop together. So I was brought into that world through my husband. And it has completely, I look and go, the amazing design of your life, you don't have a clue that you're going to come to this point. It's so much bigger. I'm so glad that it's not just about me.
Yeah.
I had no idea how much fun your life is when it's not just about you, how much bigger your heart gets, how much broader your horizons are on the real. I'm not being like, oh, let's just say some colorful things. I mean, really, it's like the difference between being just the two of us and then when we became parents. I had no idea. Well, I had some inkling, but you don't know until you're a parent.
Right.
Your heart gets so big you think it's going to bust. You have so much love in your heart, you think you're going to pass out from it. And sometimes you have so much worry, you think it's going to take you out of here.
Yeah.
Because you have so much love for your child. And what you don't realize is, my son gave me I think the best gift, because now when I hug people that I meet, I have what I call the mommy hug, and my son gave that to me. It's not that, how you doing hug. It's a deep, how are you? I want to hug
I get that one.
I want to feel you hugging me. I want you to know that I'm actually invested in this hug.
Yes.
And my son gave that to me, and I'm so grateful for that, because that's how I hug everybody now. Everybody we meet, all our students, and I'm aware of it. I'm like, Elijah gave that to me, and I'm such a much better person for that. And no, like my husband said, you don't want to struggle, but Billy had, we can look at somebody and know that need, and I would rather be that. I would rather be that as a business person, and I would rather be that as a person.
Right.
Aside from being an entrepreneur, I would rather use my life to be able to serve. That's the thing that gives me not just happiness, but joy, which is different. Joy is deep.
Yep.
And I feel like that's really it's the best thing that's happened to Billy and I. And, you know, if we had to go through that in order to get there, then I'm grateful for that.
Yes.
You know, it wasn't, but I'm grateful.
Although at the time you would have appreciated like a text message or an email that would have said, "Hey,
Hello?
on this date, it would be all right." Yeah.
Would you bring the real now? Yes.
I
was always looking.
I know.
Somebody could have said, you know, grab an extra blanket. You know.
It totally. I'm with you. I definitely I vibe with your energy so much simply because there's so much in the struggle that makes you so much more of what you would have never been without it.
Yes,
and
you never would have been.
And you didn't even think you needed to be that, but now and then only in retrospect do you go, oh, I guess I needed to I needed
yes.
that. And you would have never written it that way. You would have never said, you would have never volunteered for it. But
no.
Yet it is definitely what makes you now. It's a part of you, and it helps you to serve humanity in a completely different way. And that's exactly that's honestly how this show even began. That's how my book began. That's how my teaching began. Is I wanted to my goal was my goal was just to feed my family. That was my goal. And that morphed into other things when people started finding out everything that my wife and I went through, and they wanted to know the story. And I'm just like, why? Let's just go do this. You don't need let's just go. But I've had to learn that there's value in telling the story. There's value in helping people in that way. And you guys are doing the same thing and changing lives all across the world and creating opportunities for people through your certifications and all those other things. So not to end things, but I'm just curious, where would if we wanted to catch up with you guys, what websites or areas would I'm assuming you would want us to go look at first, so that we can find out a little bit more if someone wants to, get more involved with what you guys are doing?
Well, first I would tell people, to come to our website. We have our general website, which tells you about all of our DVDs that we have out, but also if anybody wants to get certified to teach our program, our site is meettheblanks.com. So it's www.meettheblanks.com. And up there you can find out just the different things that we're doing. And we now have an online certification, which we highly recommend, because you can do it from any location that you're at, and it's one of the things we're really excited about this year. And we have a studio that's opening up, but basically everything on that site you can get to.
We opened our studio a while back, and that's great. And it just it's a miracle, and we have so many people that we've connected with, and
you can find us on Twitter too. My
Twitter and Facebook.
And Sharon's is Sharon Cat Blanks on Twitter. And that's definitely, the way to stay in touch with us and see what's going on. But we really wish everybody and all your listeners the best, the best of luck.
Well, I thank you, and I appreciate you guys taking time out of your day. Make sure you tell Mark and Damon that you didn't stay, you weren't lollygagging too long. We were talking about business and moving the brand forward, etc., so that they know you were about it. And this is good. Keep serving the people, keep creating the opportunities. Because even for those that, are working with you as certified trainers, you're still serving them by making sure you protect the brand and build that brand so that they have an opportunity for themselves. There's just so many ripples of impact that you are making. And that's what we get to do as entrepreneurs. And I appreciate you guys taking your time to be here and share that with us.
Thank you so much. It was truly an honor to be on this show and to talk to you. And Billy, I was going to say the same thing. I feel like you and your wife are inspiring to us and to everybody else. And so really, it's been an honor to talk to you as well. We're very happy.
Awesome. Thank you, guys. We will talk to you guys again soon, I'm sure.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you for investing your time with Jay Massey and the Cash Flow Diary. When you have a moment, please visit iTunes and leave a positive comment about the show. And go now to our website, cashflowdiary.com, to take advantage of our free business building course, Cash Flow Foundation. Gain the knowledge, understanding, and skill that will teach you how to never need a job again. Until next time.